Okay, thank you everyone for this great opportunity to present. My name is David Angelo and I'm from Spark Niagara in Niagara Falls, Canada. I'm going to be talking today about the topic of effectively growing and retaining startups outside of major tech hub cities. I'm going to focus a lot on Canadian cities, but these principles can be really used across any major city. So first off, I'll start off with a little bit about myself and my background. I've been with Spark Niagara now for 2 years, located in Niagara Falls, but previously I've been an entrepreneur. I owned a company called Trivium Industries that manufactured biodegradable containers for the beauty and alcohol industries. We were actually one of the first companies in North America to be able to perfect the technology to store different types of beauty products in fully biodegradable containers. So I grew that business for 4 years. We were located in the Niagara region in Canada. And then finally in my 5th year, I was acquired by one of our American competitors. It was a great experience, a lot of challenges, and I learned a lot about not just growing a business, but really the innovation economy in Ontario. We had some unique technology that was really kind of at that time groundbreaking, and right now you're starting to see a lot more in that industry. After that experience, I moved to Toronto and started to invest in some other companies, all in tech, e-commerce companies, one in fintech, and eventually a medical company as well. Then I heard about Spark Niagara in Niagara Falls. I didn't really think there was much of a technology ecosystem in Niagara Falls prior to that experience, but I was really excited to learn about this new opportunity and what the vision was. That's Niagara Falls. Many people all over the world come here to see the beauty of the Niagara Falls. About 13 million people per year actually come there. I was born in the city, I grew up here, and I love it. I really do. It's passionate and near and dear to my heart. But I never really thought it could be a tech hub because it's always been tourism and agriculture. Lots of wineries. There's over 100 wineries here and lots of beautiful hiking trails and greenery throughout the region. Here's some statistics. The population of the Niagara region is made up of about 12 independent cities, with Niagara Falls being one of them. The population is 447,000 amongst all these cities. The median age of the citizens are 46 years old, so it definitely is a little bit of an older population in an older city. This can definitely pose some problems, which I'll get into in a second. Main industries in business, tourism obviously. We just seen those beautiful images of the breathtaking views in Niagara Falls. Agriculture, we are one of the leaders in Canada for tender fruit, wine production, and other crops. And finally, manufacturing. We do have a strong manufacturing base that, again, I'll talk about a little bit more in a few seconds. 13,000 businesses totally are located in the Niagara region, about 49% of them being very, very small, only 1 to 4 employees. It is Niagara region, a trade and transportation hub. There's 4 border crossings with 3 airports just within a 1-hour radius, and it also has a foreign trade zone designation, which is pretty unique for Canada. There's only a few areas in Canada that have it. Niagara region's one, and it's really due to increase importing and exporting by allowing diverting of certain taxes, and really just more incentives to help increase trade. So, the Niagara region, a couple quick facts. One of the top 10 tourist destinations in Canada. The average rent is 50% lower than Toronto. And in geographic area, we're about 1.5 hours away from Toronto, just so you can get your bearings. But the cost of living, 24% lower than Toronto. So much more affordable to live and rent. So those are all the great points, but there definitely are some challenges. The key sectors are vulnerable to the changing world. Tourism has been extremely affected by COVID-19 in the city. We've seen big decreases in the amount of people coming, obviously rightfully so with all the travel bans, but it's really a learning lesson that, we need to find new ways that tourism can adapt, so if something like this ever was to happen again, they wouldn't be as hardly hit and people wouldn't be laid off. Agriculture. Agriculture has also seen a lot of challenges. The rising cost of labor and the large amount of labor needed to operate the agricultural businesses, as well as lowering prices because of the many new competitors. So need to start looking at automation, other techniques to become competitive. Manufacturing, very similar. In the 90s and early 2000s, globalization really made us lose a lot of manufacturers to offshore, cheaper producers. It's finally starting to bounce back as we're having more of an advanced manufacturing sector here. But we really need to find ways to stay competitive and really utilize automation and other techniques to ensure we are a leader. 50% of all our businesses are very small, under 5 employees. We have to work on this to see why businesses aren't growing and ensure they have the right support systems in order to grow and stay in the region. The low youth retention rate in the region is definitely why that median age is so high. A lot of people come here, grow up in the Niagara region, but don't stay. They'll move to Toronto or Waterloo, New York City, bigger areas, because they don't think there's much opportunity here in the city. It's something that needs to change. We need to start having more attractive jobs for youth so they will stay here and innovate in the region. We have a skilled workforce. There's actually 2 large academic institutions in the Niagara region. Brock University, which is a university with about 20,000 students and full research capabilities, as well as Niagara College Canada, which is a college that has 10,000 students, again with some of the leading agricultural research centers in Canada. Overall, the Niagara location is very unique, and the resources make it a good opportunity for building a tech hub and really having a lot of advantages other cities do not have. So Spark Niagara. I started with Spark 2 years ago when I was really compelled to it by its vision. Before any of the business, I really liked these 4 principles: helping to develop the skilled workforce, retain our youth, attract tech talent to the Niagara region, and support entrepreneurs. Spark Niagara is a collaborative workspace that brings together entrepreneurs and businesses in multi-different sectors, multi-different phases, from people just in their idea phase to freelance designers to companies with a few employees. They all work together in a warm, collaborative space that is optimized for networking, growing together, and learning. There's really 3 main pillars of Spark Niagara. The first is business, so mixed incubation. Lots of different sectors represented that I'll get into in a second, and really making everyone feel welcome and part of a greater purpose. The community. We are here for the Niagara community to help it build and to really give back. We think it's so important to be involved in the community and really help build it, as we are all one with the business community. Education, finally. We need to keep educating our youth to our seniors. Everyone needs to have equal opportunities to educate and better themselves, and Spark is really trying to help this. We think all 3 of these principles intertwine with each other, and I'll get into more of them later in the presentation. Here's our industry sectors at Spark Niagara. So over the few years we've been in operation, we've had about 80 different companies supported in various industries, from e-commerce, software as a service, educational technology, all the way to blockchain and cybersecurity, but as well freelance design and media technology. Lots of different sectors represented. We've had great success blending these different sectors all together and really learning and networking from one another. So at our core, what we do is create virtual and physical spaces for collaboration. Primarily with the physical space. We have a large building in downtown Niagara Falls that the City of Niagara Falls helped us locate in. And you can think of Spark as a blend between co-working and incubation. So it's almost a hybrid model. A lot of traditional services like the mail, an address, meeting rooms, event space, all that kind of stuff, secure access. However, what we do differently is offer a few other more incubator type services, consulting sessions with experts on our team and in the community, website promotion, really networking opportunities that we have. We have a lot of cool events that we have, from very basic educational things like learning to do your taxes, to every Friday we have a coffee networking session to ensure people are really learning who each other are, and it's open for the community. We also started a few years ago virtual memberships. This was something that at the time we didn't know how it would take off, but now more than ever with COVID-19, it's really become very popular. So we built a back-end portal with lots of tools, templates, and resources for companies, such as being able to read up on each member and quick communication. But they can still do a lot of the same services in person, like booking consulting sessions all over Zoom, attend workshops but that are done over webinars and online. And really, we've made most of our networking virtually now, and it's been working pretty well. So we think this is the new way of the future. We still think our physical spaces will exist, but we are adapting to the virtual and remote workforce, and we're really supporting our entrepreneurs all in the same way as we previously were. So Spark is fantastic and really making a big impact in the Niagara innovation ecosystem. But what was missing was more of a later stage incubator and a program that could help companies who have the potential to grow and scale here in the region, but we didn't have the resources at Spark to really deliver it and get them what they need. So that's how the Niagara Falls Ryerson Innovation Hub was born. The mission is to help promising companies start, grow, and stay in Niagara. That is key, that last word, stay. We want to retain youth and retain our businesses here in Niagara and make it an attractive place to be a tech hub. So about the NFRIH, Niagara Falls Ryerson Innovation Hub, it's a three-way partnership between the City of Niagara Falls, the Digital Media Zone, DMZ at Ryerson University, and Spark Niagara. The project is funded in part by the Government of Canada. This is through the Federal Economic Development Agency. So we're very thankful for that funding to be able to operate this program. So thank you very much to FedDev Canada. Here's the objectives and how it kind of differs from Spark. This is community economic development and diversification. This program is meant to help diversify the Niagara economy and offer something that really we don't have and enhances the existing ecosystem of the universities, Spark Niagara, and all the other services that exist. We want to help be part of the future of innovation and entrepreneurship for the Niagara region by allowing companies the best possible services and opportunities to learn and grow. And really, we feel strongly that it's combining innovation, education, and partnerships to develop the workforce. The partnerships is very important, and we really think that's a key factor in helping us succeed and grow this. So here's how the program works. Companies have to apply on our website, fill out an application, and then the ones that we think are a good fit, we will schedule a pitch meeting with them. The companies that are accepted into the program then receive 4 months of free programming. Because of that federal funding, it's completely free, and they get access to some of the leading business experts anywhere in the world in their various fields. So people in HR, people that specialize in marketing, in raising funding. These are all from the Digital Media Zone at Ryerson and Toronto, these EIRs. It's very powerful, and these companies work very close with them to work on the milestones they choose. Companies will also get access to exclusive workshops and events. These are more high-end events that are a bit more complex, things like what key performance indicators and metrics they should be following, to how to actually negotiate around with an investor, things that are a bit more relevant. Two other important terms. These companies need to have at least their minimal viable product built, probably have a little bit of revenue, and be willing to stay in Niagara Falls at least 2 years after this program. This is, again, a way that we can really give them the runway and time they need to grow their business and staying in the region long term. Through Ryerson's network, we have connections to international markets and new partners. I'll talk about that. And the other big one is we're able to leverage the university-based funding opportunities. So an example is there's some really good hiring incentives for hiring youth with the university. So a couple of our companies have tapped into these hiring incentives and been able to get 50% off the hiring wage for new hires. So they've grown from 5 employees to 8 to 10. These are really powerful incentives that are helping our companies grow. And the fact we're associated with the university allows a lot of other research and other opportunities with their experts at Ryerson. So medical technology and educational technology, these have become two areas of focus, especially with COVID-19, but previous to that, we've had a few different startups come through the program that are really interesting, and We see these as big growth markets for us and specific, sector specific for companies. Something I didn't mention previously too is the NFRIH program. Any type of company is accepted, but they need to have a tech base. It's not industry specific. So here's some company examples. I've gone through it. Two Marshmallows is a peer-to-peer learning app in which it connects one learner in one place to another who has expertise and willing to teach a different language. So an example would be, if I'm very strong in English and want to learn French, I could connect with someone in France who could help teach me English, and vice versa. They would help teach me French, and I would help teach them English. So this is all done from a mobile app that's very secure. Expert VR. They work directly with research institutions, so universities, colleges, and private firms, to blend virtual reality with research. So one of the examples of their clients is at Brock University. They work with a viticulture and wine lab, and they really develop wine experiences using VR to help wineries better understand consumer behavior and what their consumers may want at the physical winery and tasting rooms. Empower Software. This is an IoT device for the medical sector, specifically for long-term care homes and hospital rooms. So you could think of this as a Google Home or Alexa, but what it does is patients can talk directly to the device, and then that device goes back to the nurse's station directing what the patient needs. For example, nurse, I need help, I've fallen. It'll go there, and that would be an urgent call, so it would boost above the other claims, where nurse, I need water, that would go directly to the nurse's station again, and they prioritize based on the need. They've built a lot of AI into this platform, and it also has language recognition. So if someone's native language is French, let's say, they can speak French to it, and it'll translate to English to the nurse's station. They've piloted this in a lot of different hospitals in Ontario. Bicep is a medical device company that created a patented and FDA-approved device that attaches a wheelchair to a walker. This is to be used by therapists in healthcare institutions like at hospitals and retirement homes. Bicep has won some large awards in Ontario, the #1 technology for aging with the AgeWell, as well as one of the top life sciences innovations in Ontario with the Synapse Life Science competition. So they've just actually used one of the programs to hire a few employees, and now we're going to be manufacturing a device in Niagara Falls. We really expect the EdTech and MedTech side of the business to grow in the coming years, and we think there'll be definitely some good solutions to help COVID-19. Another unique thing we have access to is the Startup Visa through our partnership with Ryerson DMZ. This is a great tool for helping us recruit the best global companies to come to Niagara Falls and grow their business in Canada. So after a thorough vetting process, companies that meet criteria can receive a letter of support through Ryerson DMZ, but the government still has to make the final decision in order for them to come to Canada. So basically, we can invite these companies to take part in a program and keep their business here in Canada to grow. So this is a very unique program. It gives us a great opportunity to really recruit the top startups from globally by bringing them to Niagara Falls. So I've explained to you now Spark Niagara, the Niagara Falls Ryerson Innovation Hub, and they're both very good resources in our region and really starting to build that tech ecosystem as well with the academic institutions. But the big question, how do we keep companies here in Niagara and not leave to the big tech hubs, New York City, Silicon Valley, Toronto, Waterloo? How do we really retain them in Niagara Falls? So here's some of the strategies we are using. #1 is we're working on that affordability aspect. We know we have an advantage with that compared to the large centers and really capitalizing on it. With the City of Niagara Falls, we've made partnerships with the Downtown Association. It's called Queen Street Niagara Falls, and you can see all these buildings here. We've helped work with landlords to really make sure the rents in these spaces is very affordable, and when companies graduate from the program, if they're growing and need a space, they're able to get an affordable lease and flexible lease at multiple of these properties. They also can come back to Spark Niagara after the program. We have lots of desk spaces and flexible spaces there as well. And then lastly, if they're really large and need a warehouse or other types of spaces, our economic development team at the Niagara region is there to help. So we really think by you doing this as a joint force to really work on giving incentives and making it affordable for companies to stay, it's a very attractive offer. They also more feel like a boutique style because there's not as many companies as some of these big centers. They get a lot more attention and a lot more ability to work with our economic development team and our leadership team. So we think that's pretty unique. Investment capital. This is also critical in ensuring companies have the financing and funds available to grow. So we've made strong relationships with various funding agencies in the Niagara region, where again, it's a lot more of a personal feel for the companies. For equity investments, there's Trinity Capital International. That is an international venture capital company that has a Niagara office. One of the founders of the company actually does office hours for all our startups in the NFRH program. So that's really unique. They can just drop in to speak with him and talk about their deal or really what's some best pitch advice, best practices. The Niagara Angel Network. This is our angel investor network in the Niagara region with about 100 angels who write checks. We have a good relationship with them and a streamlined process to help companies get the ability to pitch to these angels. For business loans, there's Venture Niagara and the South Niagara Fund, as well as BDC. So these three are all government-funded organizations in which they provide community loans to businesses specifically in the Niagara region. BDC is Canada-wide, but Venture Niagara and the South Niagara Fund solely fund companies in the Niagara region. We have very close ties with all three of those organizations, and many of our companies have received business loans through these organizations. And it's a much quicker process, to be honest, than using some of the larger banks. Meridian Credit Union is a bank that's based in Niagara. We're very fortunate to have a great relationship with Meridian. They've helped a lot of our companies by having a great startup business package and really helping them support with working capital loans and lines of credit. Another government funding source is the National Research Council. They help provide scale-up capital for mostly highly technological ideas that have some pretty strong IP behind them. Finally, the last thing we're doing to help companies stay in Niagara is working our partnership networks in the large tech hubs, primarily Ryerson, DMZ, and Toronto. Our companies in the Niagara region get the same resources as companies that are in Toronto, but all from the Niagara, much more affordable area. We think this is super powerful. They're getting leading experts, workshops, and really all these other great incentive programs like perks and benefits that if they were in Toronto, however, from Niagara. We also have connections to other innovation centers in Ontario. We know one place can't do it all and can't be the expert in everything, and that's why we've started partnerships with many different innovation centers, from ones that specialize in automotive tech to medical tech to really every different sector represented. We are big believers on collaborating and not competing with one another. So we share experts and best practices with one another. So as I mentioned near the start of the presentation, Niagara Falls is right on the border with the United States. We think this is pretty unique, that the fact you could be in two different countries in about 15 minutes and just cross the border. That's why we worked really hard on the U.S. side to form a partnership with the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus in Buffalo, United States, in New York State. They focus on medical companies and have about 120 startups in the Buffalo area, all focused around that vertical and have really strong relationships with the hospitals. What we've done is have a cross-border relationship with them, in that companies, when our companies need to go to the United States, we send them to BNMC. And then when they have companies wanting to expand into the Canadian market, we give them a package to help get started at Spark and make it a much more seamless process. We think this is very powerful and unique as countries have access to two countries in a pretty seamless manner. We also have connections into the European Union in Madrid, Spain. And so we've developed a relationship in Madrid with Invest Madrid, and we really look forward to working with this, very similar to our American partners, so that companies can start to go to Europe and vice versa, come to Canada. So as I mentioned near the start of the presentation, Spark is not just about business, but about community and education. So I'm going to tell you about some of the other special programs we have and what we do to really try and strengthen these areas. So Cyber Seniors is a program that focuses on educating seniors on the basics of technology, how to use a computer, how to create a strong password, what is Facebook. So all these basic skills that really are a whole other world to them. We have a team that goes into retirement and long-term care homes and really teach these basic skills to the seniors so they can feel like they are a part and understand technology. We think it's really important that we're not just helping our youth populations, but as well our seniors. I mentioned agri-tech is a major sector in the Niagara region, so we want to help enhance this and we launched the agri-tech hackathon in the town of Lincoln. This is a hackathon focused specifically on agricultural innovations. We actually talk to the local agricultural companies and try and find out what their biggest challenges are and put these challenge statements as the hackathon weekend goes on. Last year at the hackathon, there was a company that started and it was focused really on helping find temporary workers for agricultural companies. That business actually has launched now, and we're helping incubate them at the Ryerson Innovation Hub program. Opportunity Niagara is a job platform for companies that want to hire Niagara people for Niagara jobs. This sounds like a simple concept and a little bit similar to Indeed, but it's not. It was started by a company called Workbay, who's had a lot of success in doing this type of work in other cities across the United States. We think this is a huge factor in helping keep the skilled workforce in Niagara. We work directly with employers in Niagara to ensure they know to put their jobs on Opportunity Niagara while going to the post-secondary institutions and high schools across the Niagara region, so these job seekers know where to look to get jobs in the Niagara region and really know that a lot of these jobs that they probably never would have found exist right in their home. Finally, Spark Technical Academy. This is our arm that's really focused on education. So we do things such as camps for youth as young as 6 years old. These are all in technology camps, things like the basics of robotics, coding, virtual reality. We go into community centers like the YMCA to help deliver these camps. We also do training for individuals that are more advanced in tech. So let's take IT workers. We do a cybersecurity training with them. So we have various partners who deliver certificate training, and we basically just help ensure this training is promoted to the Niagara region and people are aware of it and can get the skills training they need to ensure they're relevant in their job. So Spark Technical Academy is really certificates training to camps, youth after school programs, and helping both the youth and the existing workforce stay relevant with their job skills. Here's a timeline of Spark Niagara and how far we've come and what we've done thus far. So it was established in 2016. In 2018, we opened the doors to the Innovation Center in downtown Niagara Falls in partnership with the City of Niagara Falls. And in 2019, that's when the Niagara Falls Ryerson Innovation Hub was launched. So it's been about 4 years, but we really are excited. We're happy thus far with the traction we've made, but we know there's a lot of work to do, and the future is exciting for us. There's so much promise for what can be in the Niagara region as a tech hub. These partnerships we've worked so hard on are going to start to grow and flourish, and really the outcomes will benefit everyone. There will be more jobs, more innovative companies in the Niagara region, and really more economic activity for Canada as a whole. So here's a few last statements. The Niagara region is a 2-hour commute to Toronto, Kitchener-Waterloo, Hamilton's another city in Ontario, and just 10 minutes from the US border. We're about 8 hours in driving from New York City. We have the ability to offer global services in a more affordable way. Through the partnerships we've made and the trust they have in us, we can deliver these services and ensure companies get the resources they need, all to grow, while we work in our local environment to make sure companies can grow affordably and have the right tools such as capital available. And as I've really previously mentioned, one of the key themes we've learned is we focus on collaboration, not competition. We try and bring together all the best different centers and organizations to work together and really offer each strength they have and vice versa. We really want to work together with different groups and help grow all as one. We really feel like we all are after the same end goal. So thank you very much. My name is David D'Angelo. Again, I really appreciate this opportunity to speak today, and you can reach out to us at Spark Niagara at my email there, ddangelo@sparkniagara.com, and thank you once again for listening.